Welcome to News from the Crabby Coffee Shop with your host, Dawn McLean, from the adventures of Bradley and Dawn on My Talk 1071, Garage Logic's newsman, Mr. FYI, John Haidt, and the crabbiest guy in the coffee shop, Kenny Olson.
Well, today I'm the most nervous guy in the Crabby Coffee. You guys, I haven't been this nervous about an interview, I don't think, in my entire career. And it's because it's with a racer, Kennedy Swan, and racing has been a serious passion of mine, spectating dirt track racing since the 70s. And I just don't want to screw this up. But this all came about because I follow Kennedy Swan on Facebook, 18S Racing, and she posted a picture of herself celebrating National Women's Month a couple of weeks ago. And I thought, oh my God, that's an excuse. I can finally talk about something on the Crabby Coffee Shop that I actually care about. And a lot of people might not realize that in racing, the gals run against the guys. There used to be, years and years ago, a powder puff class.
Oh, brother.
Yeah. Oh, totally,
I'm sorry,
Dawn.
I don't really like that name.
Totally, Dawn. It was the wives of drivers or mechanics.
Okay.
And they'd go out there for a few laps, and it was just a novelty thing, and it wasn't real. But these days, the gals are just as good as the guys. And in the case of Kennedy, they're actually better. And I'm seeing a lot of women racing, snowmobile racing, ATV racing, auto racing across the board. And it's really cool because they're competing against the guys and they're winning. So the old days are over. And I think I discovered Kennedy 2 years ago because I've signed up for something called Dirt Race Central. And this is a online channel where you buy a subscription, right? Yeah. And you can either watch live races or replays. And I'm such a nerd that during the week when there's no racing, I'm watching replays of last week's. Yeah, old races.
Yeah, great.
And that's where I discovered Kennedy. And you know, it was at first it was like, okay, well, there's a girl and she's pretty good. And then I discovered how old she was, and then I was blown away. And Kennedy is winning a lot of races. You know what? Let's, instead of talking about her behind her back, let's just say hi. Hi, Kennedy.
Hi.
Forgive me, Kennedy. I'm really nervous, and I'm never, ever nervous. This job does not make me nervous, and for some reason, you've got me all shook up here.
It's all right.
So let's start at the very beginning. You're 16 years old now, Kennedy. When did you start racing? When did you discover your love for competition?
When I was 5, my dad wanted to put me in a go-kart, but I refused to get in it, and I'd cry and scream. So then that winter, we went four-wheeler racing on ice, and I ended up taking last. And was crying about it, but then and there I knew that I loved racing. So then the following summer when I was 6, I got into go-karts, and from there I haven't stopped.
Kennedy, why were you crying when you came off the track racing quads? What was that all about?
I think it was because I took last. And I was really
That's the sign of a true competitor right there, and you've been addicted ever since. So you got into a go-kart at the age of 5.
Yes, I did.
How'd that go for you the first couple of seasons?
So after my tantrum that I had the following year, from there I did really good, and I got my first win in my rookie cage, and then we moved up to a junior wing, and we got a lot of wins there, and I moved up again to a 250 wing kart and got some wins there, and then after that, I went to B-Mod when I was 13 years old, and then I think I have a total of, I have 27 career wins in karting and B-Mod in total in my career. So, yeah.
Oh, my gosh, that's so amazing.
That's so cool. That's so cool. Just to inform the listeners, when you say winged carts, do they kind of look like sprint cars? Just miniature versions? Is that what they look like?
Yes.
We've got a go-kart track up here where I live. Let me tell you, that is some fun racing. These kids, they put their foot down and they do not lift.
Nope.
So why did you, at 13, transition into what we call B mod? They're called Midwest mods, but we all call them B mods. Why did you make that transition?
Well, right then and there, it was either we go to a 500cc wing cart or we go to a B mod. And Dad wanted to put me in a B mod, so he made that decision for me. And once I got in it, I didn't want to stop, so I continued it.
So the first time you got into it, were you a little bit nervous, or was it exhilarating? Did it feel like it was at home for you, like, oh, I can do this?
It was a little bit rough. It was hard to, but I knew it was something I wanted to do, so I wasn't going to stop.
That's awesome. So cool.
In go-karts and B mods, correct me if I'm wrong, you kind of use wheel spin, back wheel spin in the throttle to steer in and through the corners. Am I correct in assuming that?
Yes and no.
Can you explain more about that? Like, what do you do?
Yeah, I want to know, Kennedy, the process. You're going down the backstretch, WFO, foot to the floor. How do you approach that corner? What goes through your mind? What's the process? How do you make that work?
With the B mods or modifieds, we use a lot of like brake and gas, because when you press down the brake, that's what we use it turns the car.
Mm-hmm.
So rear, you can adjust with your hand if you want more rear to make like the back end turn more, or if you want more front, so the front would turn more, and you'll adjust that depending on how the track is. But yeah,
you adjust the brakes from the inside, from the cockpit.
Yes.
No, she doesn't climb outside of the car and adjust it out there.
That just fascinates me, though, that you can do that. Like, say, running down the front stretch, and you didn't like how she went into 3 and 4, so you do a little tweaking, and it just changes the whole setup of the car. That's fascinating to me.
Yeah.
So, in B mods now, I believe you're moving up into just regular modified, or some guys call them A mods. Can you just briefly and give us the basic difference between a B mod and a regular mod?
Yeah. So an A mod has a bigger motor. A mods also have a 4-bar compared to a 3-link in a B mod, and the suspension's a little bit different, and then some minor things. Nothing too big.
Do you anticipate the car being easier to drive, or harder?
A lot of people have been telling me that's easier to drive a modified, so yes.
Ah, okay. Now, it sounds like you know your way around a car as well, and I have to admit I did watch videos on you, and your dad has taught you how to work on your own car. I mean, you can pretty much do anything. You could work at Jiffy Lube or anywhere else. Was that something that you wanted to do, or it was like a necessary thing?
At first, my first year, I didn't do it quite a lot, just because it's my first year. And so we found our pit guys then, they did a lot of it. But then eventually, after the 3 years, I learned a lot of knowledge, and I can do all like the daily stuff to the mod, well, the B mod at the time that was needed to be done. And he'd always do the tires, and yeah.
All right. Very cool. My dad knew his way around cars as well, and taught us to do everything, bleed the brakes, and just, regular cars, and change our oil and things like that. So he's like, you need to learn how to do this stuff. And we're like, all right. So very cool. I admire that.
Kennedy, Dawn, even though she's a fancy city person now, she grew up in dirty old Missouri on a farm. So she knows her way around cars and tractors and wild animals and everything. One of the things that's really impressed me about you is your instincts. You seem to know where to be and where not to be on the track. I love how you avoid first corner conflict after the green has flown. Is that something that's just something you don't even have to think about? It comes naturally, or is that something you really have to concentrate on?
Well, I can't win on the first lap. I know that. So, and with the B mods, it's a really big class, and I feel like it's probably the biggest class that might wreck the most. I know that. So, the first corner, I'm not gonna go. It all depends, but I can't win on the first lap. So after that, it all just depends. Like if I see the car in front of me is like really, really tight or breaking loose or something, then I'll try and get around them. Then after that, because if I already know what they're doing, I guess it does come naturally. I guess I really don't think. Well, I mean, I think about it, but like I don't know that I'm thinking about it. It just happens.
That's intuitive. That means that you have real natural talent.
Yeah. So, like when you say loose, so like a car, you saw in the last lap a car in front of you kind of slides up the track in the middle of 1 and 2, so you know to instinctively be underneath that car in the next corner so you can duck underneath. That's pretty cool. But what I've also noticed about you is when you end up starting in the middle or the back of the pack, there's a lot of mayhem that goes on in the first lap, and you seem to instinctively be able to avoid that. And that, to me, is also the sign of somebody who has really good instincts. Is that something you concentrate on if you're starting 17th in, a field of 20?
Yes, that is. I do concentrate on that a lot.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned something. You actually put it much more politely than I would have, but the B-Mod class could be a real cluster, and being a fan, it's really frustrating seeing these guys run into each other. And if there's been a yellow and a restart, it always leads to more yellows and more restarts, and then the flagman ends up getting mad at you guys. And you're one of the few, and I shouldn't say few. You're in the bunch that usually don't get collected in these melees.
I wouldn't say that. I'd say I would get collected in in the beginning of the year. This year, not so much. I guess not this year. Last year, 2022. The beginning of that year, the first, 2 months maybe. It was one month was really rough. Like it was. I got crash after crash, or something wrong with the car, so I couldn't finish. It was rough. It was rough. I had, I think, like 15 DNFs that year, and the following year I only had like 7, and half of them were due to a flat tire. It was a lot rough. It was really rough, but after that first month though, we got back on track, and it was just bad luck. But that's you're gonna expect that when you're in the B-Mod class. It just happens.
I'm very superstitious, and I wasn't going to bring this up, but something happened to you in the middle of the season last year, and I think it was up in Superior where you got collected in a pretty serious, gnarly wreck, and oh boy, I was really nervous. And if I remember right, you guys took a few days off, you fixed the car up, and then didn't you go right back up to Superior and compete at the same track?
You went and practiced at Proctor.
Was it Proctor?
Yeah. So I rolled at Superior, but then it was Friday. We took off the weekend and we worked on the car, and then on Thursday we took it up to Proctor, and I practiced there.
So, when you crashed the weekend before, is that on your mind when they throw the green the following week, or is once you get in the car and you're on the track, all of that nonsense leaves your brain? How's that work for you?
I guess I haven't really thought about it, but I don't. It just pushes me to like be more competitive. Like now, like that I want to do more. Like I'm gonna prove like I'm still just as fast. I can still drive this thing just how I did before, and nothing's going to change.
Yeah.
I have a question, Kennedy. This is John. I haven't talked yet because I don't know a lot about racing, but I'm curious, as Kenny just talked about week to week, is this a weekly thing during the summer? How does this work? I guess I'm curious how your mind has to adjust to what's going on with the racing. Is it once a week, twice a week? How does it work?
So we start off in like end of April, and we go every weekend. We'll start about 2 2 times a week in the beginning, and then after like the first month, we'll start doing it's three nights of racing every weekend. We go from anywhere from Red Cedar Speedway, Menominee, and we'll end up going to Grand Rapids or Ogilvie, Ashland, or like we go everywhere and anywhere. We'll stay local though for the first couple months, 2 months, and then we'll eventually go out and go to other places. But yeah, it's a three nights of racing every weekend, and every night that we're not racing, we're in the shop and we are getting the car done, because that's where races are won, is in the shop. So
yeah. And John, to answer, Kennedy, you won not last year but the year before. Didn't you win the track championship at Red Cedar in Menominee?
yes, I did.
And that pretty much requires you to be at that racetrack every single Friday night, right?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's a heck of a commitment.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you get into the traveling part, like you said. I actually saw you in late fall last year up in Fergus Falls at I-94 Speedway for something called the Wissota 100, which it's fun as a fan to see all the cars, but the Wissota 100's got to be frustrating as a driver, because drivers come from Canada and from Wyoming and Montana and Wisconsin, Illinois. How is that experience when you're thrown into a field of over 100 cars and you have to narrow it down to finals? How's that? What's that like?
Well, for me, like I love it. Like I love going there, and I love seeing new cars and all these other cars from like that are really competitive coming down to this one track, and me being able to race them, which I love. But the Wissota 100 for me, the last 2 years, I've just had straight bad luck. Like it is, like it's just bad luck, and I haven't been able to make it. I think I was this year, I believe, one transfer spot out from making it, but bad luck got. So that's the sucky part about it. But I do love going there, and I love seeing all these other racers and being able to race against them.
How do you approach? What's your mindset on a track that you've never been at before? Is that nerve-wracking, or is it more exciting and fun?
I guess I'm a little bit more nervous than usual because I don't really know the track, but I usually I think I usually get the hang of it after my heat race. I adapt to it, and I'm pretty good with it. So I mean, I can adjust to it, so I don't think it's like a major setback or anything.
Awesome. Now, what are your long-term goals? I hate to say that. I sound like a college counselor right now. But when you look at the future, where do you see yourself?
I guess I want to obviously continue racing, and I think I want to go after modified. I would like to go USMTS racing, which is the United States Modified Touring Series.
Cool.
So they for like every state. I'd like to do that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'd move up to like a late model or anything, but right now I really like the mods, so I'm going to stick with that. And I guess we'll see after that. But that's a long ways, so I'm not too worried about it. But that's my right now.
Cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
One of the things that I always watch for when I've got a bunch of gals that I watch up here that are really good, and I'm really hypersensitive about the way the other racers treat them on the track. Have you ever felt like you've been singled out by a driver, or that you're just being bullied by some, 50-year-old meathead who doesn't think you should be out there? Or have the racers been pretty cool?
Yeah, there is some times that does happen.
Mm-hmm.
There are some people out there, some guys that aren't a fan of me and just don't like me, and that's totally fine. But I also have majority of the people in the races that respect me and respect my driving and everything, so that I don't have that conflict. But there are some people out there that don't like me too much. But
yeah, that's all about them and not about you. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So have there ever been any drivers who have been the opposite? Like they'll come up, somebody you just competed with, you both came off the track together, and they'll come up to you after a race and give you some really cool tips and sound advice and secrets. Do you have any of that happening, or is it too competitive for that?
No, that definitely happens. I would say it's like if I get top 5 and we go into the infield, these guys are congratulating me and giving me shaking my hand and telling me like I had a good race. But I think some drivers that will actually help me though and give me some tips back at the trailer would be like Mike Anderson. He races the modified, Jody Belfi, and Shane Sabraski.
Yep.
And they both.
Wait a minute. Stop a second. So Shane Sabraski is helping you out?
Well, I mean, yes, I would say we're pretty close with them. We talk to him a lot.
Cool.
I'm close with one of his sons. I'm friends with his son. We go to a lot of same racetracks. We talk, and if I ever needed anything, he'd always help. So yes.
Okay, so for the listeners, I have to tell you, Shane Sabraski, one of the best drivers in the country. He races both modified and super stock, and he does very well. He's a clean driver and a really hard competitor. And the fact that he's helping out other racers, that just makes me love him even more. Now you're going to be competing against him, Kennedy.
Yeah, I
am. So how do you manage all of this with school, Kennedy? Is it easy? Is it difficult?
I guess so. Usually in the end of the season for racing and the beginning of the school year, I do miss a lot of school.
Yeah.
Usually like Thursdays, Fridays. But I can change like my classes and when I have them. So I do like easier classes in the beginning of the year, so that when I miss them, like I'm not missing a whole bunch.
Gotcha.
And yeah, I mean, I can handle it. I don't think it could be a little bit stressful sometimes for sure, but it's not. I can get through it. It's nothing that I can't handle.
You must just wear yourself out every day, huh?
Here's Dad. She's too humble. She don't give herself enough credit.
Yes.
This kid's an honor roll student. She leaves school. She goes and works out for usually an hour to hour and 15 minutes every single day, sometimes longer.
She's
right. She's also got softball. She starts softball in November. She works out with a local guy here twice a week, whether they're hitting and throwing. So she don't even come home from school. She goes right to the YMCA, works out, comes home and eats, runs down and does softball stuff. Now high school softball has started. So she's practicing every day.
Wow.
Monday through Friday. She don't give herself enough credit. And then when there's time that she's got to work on her four-wheeler, she's out working on her four-wheeler, and she still has awesome grades.
We haven't even got to the four-wheeler. What position does she play in softball?
So I play shortstop. That is my main position, but I'm a middle fielder, so I could do second, and outfield is probably another one that I'm better at. But I could play anywhere, but mainly shortstop is my position.
Kennedy, I know obviously you're competitive in racing. Are you as competitive in softball as you are when you race?
Yes, yeah. I'm competitive in a lot of things, but softball is another one that I'm very competitive in. Yeah.
Speaking of competitive, if you and Dad had a track to yourself and you were both in evenly matched B mods and you had a 10-lap race, who wins?
I would win.
Funny thing is, Kennedy was pretty young when I raced, and she don't remember, but I got an opportunity at Red Clay here this last year, and I jumped into a guy's B-mod, and she won't probably admit it, but she's like, I finished 5th, 6th, and I haven't raced a race car in 8 years, 10 years, so
yes.
He was smiling, so I think she realized, hey, Dad has something, but even I can't. I watch her obviously, and the things she does with a race car, the things she does with a four-wheeler, she does things that people it's like, wow, how'd you do that? Why? I don't know.
Man.
Okay. Let's talk about the quad racing, you guys, because Kennedy, in the winter, you race four-wheelers, quads on ice, and you guys really, really hang it out. I mean, you're going through these corners full blast, and it looks like you're keeping it pinned coming out of the corner, sliding the whole way, and it looks like you slide right up to the outside snowbank. how in the world can you tell your brain to keep it pinned when you're headed right for the snowbank? That's amazing to me.
Well, I don't. So I don't try to come on sometimes. Sometimes it just happens. But it just I just feather it when I come out, and when I get close to the snowbank, if you go in and you hit it slow, you're going to get stuck, or you're going to end up getting more hurt than if you be going full throttle at it. So I just, worst case, I hit it with my right rear, and it just points me straight again. So.
Oh, so you're using the wall. Good. That's awesome.
Wow.
Oh, man. So one of my favorite parts about your Facebook page is your mom. Your mom is, her name is Autumn, right?
Yes.
Your mom will throw your videos up. She'll go live on Facebook. And I got to tell you, folks, once the racing season starts, go to 18S Racing for just the live feed so you can hear Mom's commentary. It's so mom-like. And everybody calls, all your family evidently calls you Kenna. And so she'll be cheering you on and saying, oh, don't go down there. Go up high, Kenna. Go up high. And then there's a whole bunch of swear words. And she'll curse out other drivers. And it's just so awesome. It's so enjoyable. I really, I don't want to tell you how to live your life, but I really want you guys to start a YouTube page. It would be so
time
popular.
for that, Kenny.
Yeah, I know. I don't know how you're going to get all that in. Maybe assign that to your younger sister or your mom or whatever. But I promise you, you'd have 1 million followers within 2 years. It's so good.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, you're so humble, Kenna. You're so humble. Oh, man.
Well, do you want to mention your sponsors? We got to get your sponsors in here.
I wanted to get this in because that always comes at the end, and you're never ready. Do you have a list of your sponsors, Kenna? Because this racing thing, it sucks up all your money and all your time, and if it wasn't for sponsors, you wouldn't be able to do this. Who are they?
Yes. Okay. So without all these marketing partners, I couldn't do what I do. So Southwest Chevrolet, TV Trucking, Greenwood Concrete and Excavation, Taffy Law Office, Ogre Express, AirTech Sports, Interstate Batteries, KP Catering and Seasoning, Polish Enterprise Steve Rowan, Alger Electric, Tanner Family Group Home, Cornell Lake Campground, Jake Side, Clearview Auto Glass, Stoka Flooring, Jacobson Base Hardware and Meat Market, Bradford Shooter Guy Photos, Hooker Design, Powder Plus, HG Automotive, Pros Net, Doug Sharing Kite, Tim's Automotive Machine, Grandpa Dave, and last but not least, SFR Race Cars, Jake and the whole crew. And thanks to William, who was my pick guy before this last year, but still is, Mom and Dad, Sean, Sierra, and Doug.
Wow.
That's awesome. That's amazing. I mean, I feel like I'm so proud of you, but I don't know you.
I know.
This is fantastic. We just really celebrate you, and it's just been great talking to you. Unless Kenny has any more nerdy questions for you.
No, it's all nerd stuff. But I want to echo what Dawn says. And when I'm watching you race, whether it's on TV or live, I feel like I'm one of your family member. I'm like super protective, and I get really angry at other drivers. And I know you can't see me, but I'm one of those nerds waving you on. Go! Come on! Go! You're so fun to watch, Kennedy.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we're going to have to come down to Menominee and see you race. So we'll keep track of your schedule and be one of your biggest fans.
Please,
definitely. We'd love to have you guys. And I just want to, one more thing to the fans that are out there listening too is, she's the first female to ever win the Punky Manor, which has been going for 42 years now.
Wow.
Nice. Youngest.
Yeah.
To ever win the Punky Manor.
Wow.
That's a special race they have every year at Red Cedar in Menominee. And she won that thing. It was so cool. It's so neat when you hop out of the car in Victory Lane and you take off your helmet and you've got the pigtails and you're standing on top. And the fans just love it. They can't get enough. It's so fun, Kennedy. I hope you don't mind. I don't want to put all this weight on your shoulders, but you're a real inspiration.
Yeah.
You really are.
I'm sure an inspiration. You're inspiring younger racers, young girls look up to you and And you got to feel good about that. So
Yeah, I do. That's definitely one of the things that keeps me going in racing, and that's one thing I wanted to accomplish was to inspire other people. So thank you.
yeah, very good.
Kennedy, you're lucky I don't live in Minneapolis anymore. Otherwise, I'd be over in Menominee 3 nights a week trying to help out, just doing anything I could. You wouldn't be able to get rid of me. So
She
consider
knows
yourself
more than you do, Kenny.
Consider yourself lucky that I'm too far away.
Oh, well, thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it anything else you want to say? Any other words of advice? Or
I just want to thank all the fans and my sponsors, because without them I couldn't do what I do. And they're more than just sponsors to us; they're family.
yeah,
And thank
Cool.
you for having me.
yeah.
All
And
right.
thank you to you, Jason, for being in the background here and supporting.
Yeah, always. I try to keep my mouth shut. I told her I would. She says I talk too much. So.
All right, you guys. So thank you. Sorry for being such. What's that? I'm sorry.
She's coming into her own, and that's what I love best about seeing all this.
Yeah, you got to be so proud.
You can't get her to say boo. Now she can sit down and talk, and you want to talk racing, she can talk with the best of them.
Perfect.
Yep. It's been a real pleasure. Sorry I'm such a nerd, but I'm a big fan. I can't help it. All right,
Yeah,
you guys.
Right on.
Thank you.
Okay, bye, guys.
Thanks.
Thank
Hi,
you very
thank
much.
you.
One.
Okay, let's take a little break here and talk about DK Mags. They've got a full stock of everything you need, firearms and ammunition, accessories related. And if you're looking for something rare or hard to find, DK Mags is the place to go. They do take specialty orders on those hard to source items. You may as well start your shopping right at the website, dkmags.com, but feel free to stop in. You'll love the shop. They've got a vast amount of knowledge, a very deep knowledge throughout the store, including their on-site gunsmithing staff. They also have outside resources for those really hard, difficult gunsmithing issues, and they can get you a good price. They have the buying power of a larger business, but they keep it family friendly. They know a lot of us by name, and that's one of the reasons you can really trust them, especially if you're a first-time gun buyer, you're thinking about it. Stop in and ask those questions you might think stupid. There's no stupid questions when it comes to firearm. Feel free to stop in. Fair pricing, quality firearms, and a wonderful staff at DK Mags. They're on Old 8 in New Brighton and on the web, dkmags.com.
You know I'm ice cold. Never want to be afraid to let the dice roll. I like my chances even when my eyes closed. Odds against me.
Are you laughing at me?
Yeah,
Baby.
a little bit. It's okay.
I'm spent.
Oh, no.
I was so nervous. I'm not used to getting nervous doing this. There's nothing I won't do and say on the air, but for some reason I was really rattled about this.
Oh, because why? I mean, what? Go further with that. Tell me more. I sound like a psychiatrist.
Because I don't want her to. I don't want her to think that I'm just some dumb old duffer. You know what I mean?
What is a duffer?
I just. I guess I want her respect, and I'm not sure that I'm able to
What in
earn
the
it.
hell? Yeah, no. I think she's just glad that she has a fan out there, probably, and people supporting her.
Yeah,
And
I think
knows
she,
you. I mean, she knows you know a lot the way you were
Yeah.
talking. So I mean, I
Yeah.
don't think
I think
this is
she
all-
clearly respects the fact that somebody gave her time to talk about what she loves.
But I thought the questions you guys asked were better than the stuff I did, because I think I know too much about it to be accessible to listeners that might not understand or know a lot about it. But there are dirt tracks all over all of our states. And there's a couple really close to Minneapolis. Cedar Lake Speedway is close. Menominee is fairly close. Even southwest of the Twin Cities, there's some really cool tracks. Ogilvie, Superior, up in Duluth. Why are you laughing at me?
I'm just laughing because you always make fun of me on Garage Logic. See,
I know.
my point is, if I know something really well,
Yeah.
I want to be a geek and talk about it. You are afraid to. Me,
I
I
am.
want to share
I
my
am.
knowledge and see if I could, get anybody excited.
Did I ask anything stupid?
No.
Okay, because
I thought-
I don't know
yeah.
hardly. I'm just a spectator. I would go to Lucas Oil Speedway in Wheatland, Missouri. I think you've asked me about that
Dawn,
track before.
I'm going there this
Oh,
summer.
you are? Oh, cool.
We're going to Indy 500, and they have some late model races there. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday before the Indy 500. So first we're going to go down to dirty old Missouri, see a race, and then
Is
we're
that a
going to
good
go
racetrack?
up. Yeah.
See,
it's
I
one of
don't
the
know
best
in
in the
relation
country.
to. I've only been there, so would she be going down there for any reason, or is she just stay in the area?
If she follows through on her plan to run with the USRA mods, the tour, yeah, she'll race there.
Oh, cool.
And actually, I was talking to Jason last night. There's a big race in Iowa this weekend, Davenport, Iowa. And I was wondering if she was going to go down there for that, but they just brought the new car home last night, and they're getting the engine this week. But yeah, I think she's got a really bright history. And one of the things we didn't bring up that I know about is she might get some college scholarships for softball. That's how good she is.
That's
Yeah.
what I was thinking, and
Yeah.
I hope that's true. You know?
Yeah, and then how is she going to balance that? And I can't tell Jason how to approach this because I'm a dad and I still don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But I think I might be tempted to let her play softball.
Well, I mean,
Don't you
she's
think?
her own person. Like she sounds like she's pretty bright. She can figure it out for herself. You know what I'm saying? Like she knows how to manage her time already. She like does CrossFit all the time. I saw
Yeah.
on her profile. I'm like, she's also doing CrossFit and softball. Like,
Yeah.
I'm so tired just even reading this. I could barely get up this morning. I was like, I gotta stop.
And to play softball/baseball geek, if she's playing shortstop in high school, that probably means she is of the elite on her team because that's the position that really is the center of your baseball team.
And she's on the honor roll.
Yeah.
She gets
Yeah.
good
An honor roll.
grades.
And up until a
I'm
few
like her
years,
crazy old aunt that she doesn't know.
no, that's how
You're
I
doing
feel.
so good, Kennedy. Good job now. Do you need me to make you a ham sandwich?
Yes. Have you been drinking your water? Totally.
I want to hang out with her mom and cuss along with her.
Oh, Autumn is so awesome
Yeah.
because she just lets them fly when she's doing the live
great.
Facebook things. Yeah, it's so cool. And I didn't want to bring this up when they were on, but this crash that she got in last year, Jason ran out on the track after the crash and he was freaked out. And he was visibly upset. And so was I, Jason. And so was everybody else.
Yeah.
And Jason actually apologized a few days later. He made a public apology for his behavior. And it's like, hey, no apology needed, dude.
Oh,
we were
yeah.
freaking
Yeah,
out
I
too.
mean, it's your kid.
Yeah.
Come
Yeah.
on. I mean,
Yeah.
you could freak out if you want to. You know who I think she could be great friends with is Bridget McCutcheons. You know?
I think so.
Yeah.
You know, she's our girl out on the road trying to break the Guinness World Record.
It's the recurring theme in my life, Dawn. I can only hang with badass broads.
Yeah,
Seriously.
right.
They got to have a head full of brains and they got to be badass and willing to do and say anything. And you know, that's what I married. That's what you are. That's what Kennedy, Bridget, all these gals that I love are all badass broads. And she's definitely at the top of the list. But what I did want to say about racing, it used to be dirty old greasy mechanics showing up in beaters. And it was kind of a bit of a redneck sport. But go-kart racing has changed the way racing is because all of these kids now are coming up and they're in their teens and late teens when they transfer out of go-karts and into race cars. And it's really, really made racing interesting. All my favorite racers now are either teenagers or they've just turned 20. There's a kid up here, Carter Rentz. I love watching him. He's probably 19 now. There's another kid up here, Bryce Sward in late models. He is a total badass. And that's the top class, the late models. And he's out there competing against big dollar teams and doing good. Another gal up here, Haley Lee, Mackenzie Michelson. And there's just a lot of gals racing, and
That's fantastic.
It takes balls to go out there and compete against, and some of these guys are surly and crusty, and they'll give you the door.
Yeah.
You know?
It's just so embarrassing. I have such secondhand embarrassment for grown men who are intimidated by a 16-year-old girl and would pick on them or be mean. I'm like, oh, God, please don't do this. Like, I just want to say, let me tell you about yourself for a second, okay?
Yeah, yes.
You're a piece of S.
Yes.
Go to the snack bar, get some nachos. We'll see you later.
Yeah. Look in the mirror.
It's so embarrassing. Like, come on.
That guy you're seeing in the mirror is a piece of ass.
Yeah. God, hang it up. Oh, so, could I get in a go-kart?
You know
Can
what?
I wreck a go-kart?
There's a class.
For old ladies, is it called the silver class?
No, there's a class that's called short trackers, or they're little front-wheel drive cars, and it's not an expensive class. And the roommate keeps going, I should be out there. I could kick ass. I should be out there. And finally, I threw it down. I said, okay, I will buy a car. I will devote all my time, and I'll never get you do the driving. And she looked at me, and she was thinking about it. And then the sober side came by and said, oh, we don't have enough money. We don't have enough time. We can't do this. We can't do that.
Sober side.
you know, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We should take a staff trip to like a pro kart indoors, Kenny, and we all just go
as far as
tool
go-karts,
around.
Yeah, that's what we should do. We should all, the four of us, go to a go-kart track.
That'd be fun. Yeah.
We'd end up getting kicked out, but it would be fun until that happened.
Well, let's make it happen for sure.
Anyway, if folks want to check her out, her Facebook page is 18S Racing. The site I referenced where I watch these races is called I think it's called Dirt Race Central, DRC, and you can buy a subscription by the month or the year. Kennedy was racing Midwest mods. We call them B mods. Now she's moved into the higher, tougher class, the mods. What else? I think I covered it all.
Kenny, can I ask you a nerd racing question?
Yeah.
I've always wondered this because, as you know, I'm a very loose racing fan, like novice at best, but I watch a fair amount. But when I say fair amount, what I'm watching is the big IndyCar races or NASCAR or sometimes even the Saturday races. So not a lot of local stuff.
Right.
But the one thing that I do try and give these guys and gals credit for that I don't think enough people do is you might not be the most, I'm already having trouble describing this, but these guys and gals, for the most part, they're in pretty good shape. It takes a lot to sit in these cars that, by the way, don't have air conditioning because it slows down the car. I mean, the thing that always boggles my mind, Kenny, is a pit stop at a hot NASCAR race where you got the guy whose literal job is to dump the bucket of ice on the driver. Right? Like, that takes conditioning. You have to be conditioned to do what they do.
Definitely. They're definitely athletes.
Yeah, and a lot of people would dispute that, but you're absolutely right. They are athletes, and they do train. They're running. They're like CrossFit, what Kennedy does. They're riding bikes. They're always working out. And now that's transferred over into the pits, where all the guys that come over the wall are also in top shape, and they can throw a tire around.
Yes.
And it's really changed.
I watched a video on YouTube, Kenny, to that point, and of course you know this, but maybe a lot of the listeners don't. A lot of these pit crews are former athletes. Like they have went and sought out former football players, former basketball players, people who can basically get the job done in a very quick amount of time. It's the whole sport to me is very fascinating. I'm learning more by basically the week, but I enjoy it.
I'll watch any kind of racing, but I have to admit NASCAR racing is my least favorite. It's just, I don't like racing where they take each other out on purpose. True race fans hate crashes. I hate seeing somebody get wrecked on purpose, and I really, really hate seeing accidental crashes. And it seems like NASCAR, it's the most prevalent in NASCAR, where they'll just take a guy out. And that just doesn't work for me. It's why I love Indy racing and F1 racing. You don't see any of that crap. And you don't see a lot of it in dirt track racing, but it is there. And we did have an episode last weekend in southern United States where some asshat went after another guy during a yellow flag, and he ended up getting thrown in jail.
What?
Yeah.
Are you
because
serious?
he crashed this guy repeatedly during a yellow and finally destroyed his car. And then, of course, the drama continued in the pits, and there was a fight, and the guy ended up sitting in jail. And so did his dad, by the way.
Oh, so he could put because they were physically fighting after. That's why I got. Okay, I thought maybe it's for doing something on the racetrack.
And
I'm like,
if you ask me, that's just a black eye on the sport, the fighting. You know?
Yeah, that's dumb. That's like toxic masculinity.
Yeah, it'll bring in the numbers, but does it bring in the true race fans? I don't think so. I think it just brings in the people that want to see a fight.
Yeah.
So.
I got a brother-in-law who's a NASCAR nut, always has been,
Yeah.
and he basically says the same thing you do. He used to actually race both NASCAR and drag race, and he was one of those guys. He would never come around because he'd be sitting at home on Sunday afternoon watching the race. And now he says, yeah, it's just not, as interesting as it used to be. It's not as much fun. Yeah.
Well, I need a nap. I'm worn out. That was I did a week worth of show
to do,
prep.
pal. You got another show to do.
Oh,
You better
that's
get ready for that one.
GL.
Yeah, you got another show. So do I.
Yeah. Oh, what is that show, Don McLean?
The Adventures of Bradley and Dawn on My Talk 107.1, Everything Entertainment.
Thanks for listening to news from the Crabby Coffee Shop. New episodes drop every week wherever you get your podcasts.